Like, what did you want to do growing up?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I think when I was a small kid, I really wanted to be a pilot.
Pilot.
That was my dream.
Wow.
I had been. I think it links back to traveling a lot. Like I'd taken like a few plane trips to visit family in the U.S.
Yeah.
And as a little kid, I got my wings from the pilot, and I was like, "That's what I want to do."
Oh, you used to have?
Yeah, like
Nice.
when they do that
pilots,
sometimes. They come out and they give it to the kids that I super love, and I just loved the whole experience. I think one of my first flights was to this really small town that my dad's from in the Midwest in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And we had taken a flight to like Chicago, a big airport. And then we had taken a really small flight to another airport, to like a regional one. And we were flying in the middle of like a thunderstorm. And it was crazy turbulence. Everybody on the plane was freaking out. But me as a kid was like in heaven.
Excited.
There's like, you could see lightning. I was in heaven.
Yeah.
And I think this is like things that set or at least showed my personality. It's like, I want to be jet setting. I want to be in crazy environments. So that's what I wanted to do. As I got older, I realized I'm terrible at math. I was more of a creative person, you know, like the arts was more of what I was into. So it kind of evolved. And then I got really lucky that at some point we'd moved to San Diego in California. If you know, it's the farthest city south.
Yeah.
I was very privileged to live in a very nice city that had quite a bit of money, and I could go to a high school that had a broadcasting program. So we were doing daily TV shows, and at one point I was making videos, and that's how I got started into making content. So I'd started when I was like 12 years old, got really into it as I got to a bit older.
12 years?
Yeah.
Okay, so you never done an 8 to 5, you never did the McDonald's thing and everything?
I also did that, yeah.
You did? Yeah, I mean, you know, those are the things that shape us and give us like a bit of discipline.
Making videos hasn't made me any money. So
really?
I like my actual career, the way I make money, that I'm trying to transition out of is selling software.
Well, that's what you do?
Yeah. I work for software companies and usually sell to the US or the UK or Australia. The biggest markets, it doesn't have to be English speaking, but they tend to be the ones that have adopted the things that I've been working on.
But how does that work though? Because now, how do you shift like everything that you're doing? Like you said, like, you know, you're interested in broadcast and everything from school, and then shifting to like software. Is it something that you learn or just a DIY kind of thing?
Oh, so it was a bit of a slow shift. When I was in school, we had made a documentary on the Holocaust. So that kind of solidified that I got to feel like I was in the business. We were really lucky that we fundraised just through our families, went to Germany, filmed it, came back, put out a trailer, and then a Jewish family foundation actually saw it and said, we've actually wanted to do this project. Can we write you like a few $100,000 check and can you make it a proper project? I did that, and then I got to be on the team that was traveling. So we went to like Zagreb, Croatia, and traveled around promoting it. And then I realized I liked the production element of making content. I wasn't entirely sold on going into the industry and being like a little fish in a big system. And I loved the element of going out and kind of selling and producing and doing that. So when it came time to go to university, I was like, I don't want to study film. I don't want to study broadcasting. I want to go into business. And that's sort of how I kind of consider it it was a nice detour, but I kind of went off on a detour and got into the sales world. And then it's been the last 2 years that I've been realizing that my passion is still making content, and that I can take these skills I learned from business and sales and like ended up being in the tech startup world, and now try to apply that to producing content. Because I don't know if you experienced this, that the actual filming and editing, which is a fun piece, is one small portion of what we're doing. I tell people all the time, I'm like, I wanted to come here and make like a banging TikTok every day. And I realized the hardest part is getting a good idea that's going to get traction, and then getting people sold to help you with it, and coordinating and getting people to follow through and selling people on that. Like I realized that like that element is just as important as when you're holding the camera and then when you're finally putting the pieces together. So I'm happy I kind of derailed and went that way, but it is a challenge. But I'm happy. Like right now I'm not making any money through content, but this is I think long term this is something that could be a business that sustains me.
For sure. Because I think even as a content creator, just like you said, a lot of people who always have like second doubts about like creating content, they're always thinking about like, how am I going to make money now?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's once you start looking at the people like, you know, the Jake Pauls and Logan Pauls,
Who are billionaires now.
it's going to be really hard for you to make content because you have to realize like they also started this when they were like 10,
Yep.
11 years old. So you're dismissing like probably like 15, 16 years in the making. And
Yeah.
you want to skip all this to go
Yeah.
to the end and start reaping the rewards. Well, times have changed, but also you have to understand like you need to figure out your lane. Start with what you have and just get comfortable doing it until like you figure out like, okay, this is where I can make money.
Yeah.
I can do much. I've built up like a huge fan base so I can sell them like anything that's, you know, worth selling, not just selling them like thin air or
No
anything.
courses.
Exactly.
No crypto
Just
scams.
yeah, exactly. Just sell them something that's actually like just worth them buying. And I think your fans will support you always.
Yeah.
And partnerships can come in and all that. So